The Coast Guard puts up a new station on Pag-asa Island to improve its monitoring of Chinese vessels. 14 seafarers who were caught in a Russian missile attack returned to the Philippines. And industry projections indicate a mixed adjustment in the prices of fuel products next week. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Riza Diaz. We begin the newscast with the return of 14 Filipino seafarers who were caught in a Russian missile attack in Ukraine. The Pinoy captain and other 13 crew members of a Liberian-flagged civilian vessel K-Max Ruler landed in Manila today. They recounted the attack in an interview and said they are still traumatized by the incident. Now, one of the members, second officer Seaman Giovanni Perez, calls on the government for an assistance as most of them are still under contract. A Russian missile attacked K-Max Ruler while it was entering a Black Sea port in the Odessa region of Ukraine on November 8. One was killed in the incident.
Panawagan na lang po namin na makahingi kami ng konting tulong po sa inyo. Kasi po kami ay marami po sa amin is under contract pa po, and then yung mga papasok pa po ng mga seafarer na Pilipino, as much as possible kung pwede din pong maiwasan na bumiyahe sa ganitong war zone area.
The Philippine Coast Guard launched its new station in Pag-asa Island on Friday. The upgraded 3-story Coast Guard station features maritime domain awareness capabilities, including radars, satellite communication, and coastal cameras. The station will also support international merchant shipping, particularly distressed vessels. National Security Advisor Eduardo Año commended the PCG for their exceptional dedication to patrolling and protecting national waters. Security agencies, including the PCG, are expected to receive additional funding once the realignment of confidential funds has been approved. Now, nearly 1,000 persons deprived of liberty could be granted an executive clemency this holiday season. Justice Department Assistant Secretary Miko Clavano said they submit a list of PDLs for parole and probation administration each year. Now, those qualified for parole include elderly PDLs and those with disabilities. Executive clemency ranges from absolute to conditional pardon with or without conditions.
I'm not particularly sure kung ano po yung number na binigay ngayon. But last year, it was an amount close to 1,000. So we're expecting a similar amount this year.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Immigration Bureau clarifies that investigators from the International Criminal Court are free to enter the country. BI spokesperson Dana Sandoval explained that unless a court order blacklists the investigators for being undesirable aliens, they will not prevent them from coming into the Philippines. Solicitor General Minardo Guevara echoed this statement but stressed that agencies involved have the discretion to admit or not admit a certain person who they may consider as undesirable. Now, back in July, the ICC Appeals Chamber confirmed its resumption of the investigation into former President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs. Last month, the House Joint Committees approved resolutions urging the Marcos administration to cooperate with the ICC investigation. Motorists may see a mixed adjustments in the prices of fuel products next week. Uni Oil projects that prices of diesel would go down by up to 40 centavos a liter. Now, gasoline, however, is seen to become more expensive by up to 20 centavos per liter. The projected movement comes on the heels of further production costs from OPEC, a storm-related drop in Kazakhstan oil output, softer US dollar, and decline in US crude inventories. Final oil price adjustments will be announced on Monday and will take effect the next day. Some experts say the country's inflation rate is expected to slow down next year, but economist Winnie Monsod explains that this does not translate to lower prices of goods and services. Now here's an excerpt from Cathy Young's interview on Thought Leaders.
Given that we've had an inflation problem post-pandemic, about that gut issue called inflation, or the affordability of goods and services and how people might live comfortably or maybe even thrive in this case. What is your inflation estimate for next year? Do you think that it might come down to the levels?
Well, of course it has to come down.
But at the level at which the Bangko Sentral had wanted it to be, between 2 to 4%.
If you say it comes down, the viewers think that the prices will come down. No, the inflation rate will come down because, prices have gone up so high already. The inflation rate inflation rate coming down doesn't mean that prices will go down. It's just that the increase in prices will slow down. That's one thing that we must remember. For the longest time, the targets for inflation have been 2 to 4%. During my time, I thought if we got it down below 10%, this was 1986. If we got it down before, I could die happy. But now it's 2 to 4%. That's the central bank's targets. We're trying to analyze what were the causes of inflation. Everybody said, the president's decree, the president's executive secretary that our rice prices, the executive order of the president imposing a price ceiling. They said that it's because of the war in Ukraine and the oil prices and all. Darn it! The inflation was because of what happened to onions, what happened to sugar, what happened to rice, for heaven's sake. And he exacerbated the problem with rice. Because, for heaven's sake, we knew that September to December would be the harvest. So what was he doing? Putting a price ceiling. I can't believe it. If it did not hurt the economy, I would not mind, because I said, prices were going to go down. But he had to bring out all this money to so-called help the traders who were going to be caught because they had bought at a higher price, and they had bought at a higher price, and they had to sell at the price ceiling. Well, how much did that cost the government? It cost something like 4 billion pesos. And then so much money was spent on trying to help the traders. All they had to do was just let it go, because harvest would come in and prices would go down. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Catch the full interview with economist Winnie Monsod on a Tuesday, 9 p.m. Philippine Standard Time, only here on One News. And those are the top stories of the hour. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.